What? There aren't cougars in missions!
But there are over 40 animals across GTA 5 and GTA Online, and for the next installment of my series where I plan to rank as many things in GTA 5 as I can before GTA 6, we'll be ranking every single animal. Unlike my home of Alberta, Canada, Los Santos has over 700 different spawn points for rats, which are mostly situated within Strawberry and Pillbox Hill. Now sure, they're fairly small and they go kind of unnoticed, but they do add some good ambience to the city. Chimpanzees are a rare commodity in the game, only being seen once in the game during the story mode mission Did Somebody Say Yoga, while Michael is hallucinating, and in various TV shows and movie trailers. Despite being referred to in the missions as monkeys, they're actually apes. Speaking of monkeys, however, the rhesus monkey can be seen in the game, but again is still very rare. They can only be seen in the mission Monkey Business within the Humane Labs facility within cages, and they're also seen in a setup mission for the Humane Labs raid. Moving to the skies for the first time is the chicken hawk, which might have a cool name, but with only 48 spawn points all located in the middle of nowhere, this animal is a tad harder to find and isn't overly worth the effort to find. On an equally shitty level, the pigeon has roughly the same number of spawn points closer to the city, but perhaps they only scored low because I have two pigeons that never leave my truck alone, and they're always shitting on it and trying to lay eggs in my box, and there's nothing I can do, and Normal chickens take the number of spawn points up a notch, spawning in over 140 locations. Majority of these locations are located in the Gran Senora Desert and Paleto Bay, with 18% of them spawning in Rancho. In 34th place is the boar, which can be found in the central area of the map. The boar only has 51 spawn points, and although it can kill the player, it's not a super common occurrence. Luckily, it is part of the small list of peyote plant options. Tied in 32nd place are two very passive animals in the game. Flies and cockroaches don't have any set spawn points, but can be found in an endless amount of locations around the map. Firstly, flies don't even show up in the Rockstar editor, so I don't actually have any footage to show you for them. But there's also a bug regarding cockroaches, where you can find some largely oversized roaches in Banning. Crows can be found all over the world with the exception of Antarctica, so it would be no surprise that they spawn in over 163 locations in San Andreas. Over 92% of all crow spawn points are in Lago Zancudo in the marsh area. While traveling through Grapeseed, you're likely to come across a pig farm. While these pigs can also be found at 11 different locations around the map, with 59 individual spawn points. Next up, we have the cow, also known in some circles as your mom. Now, this animal can only be found in Grapeseed and along Senora Way, as well as at 4 different spawn points just east of Paleto Bay. Another passive animal that can be found around the map is fireflies, which again don't have any set spawn points and don't show up in the Rockstar editor, but can be found scattered around the map and add some vibrant life to the map at night. Finally, moving on to the ocean, you can actually find the largest animal in the game, the humpback whale, at 22 different locations. As cool as it would be to have a pet humpback whale, it would be extremely impractical, but since it spawns in almost every corner of the map, it felt fitting to put it in 27th place. Similar to the fireflies and cockroaches, the starfish is another animal that spawns around the map, rather than in set spawn locations. Not many people notice these little guys, but they do bring more life to the general ocean and reef areas. The poodle is our first dog in this list, and has a whopping 293 different spawn locations, primarily situated in the northern half of the city. And since this is already a fairly common pet, it scored well in that category. The stingray has even more spawn points, racking in 327 unique locations all the way around the coast of the map. Although these aren't common pets, it is possible to have a pet stingray, though it also scored fairly high for lethality due to what happened to Steve Irwin. Welcome to my kitchen, where I spent the last 2 days with all of my members creating a GTA 5 themed birthday cake for myself, and I have to say, I'm pretty proud of it. Now, if you're not a member, that's okay, because I have a preview of the video right here for you. It's time to bake a cake. Who's ready for an explosion? One of the eggs is broken.
Very good push.
Ooh, it smells good. Ooh, we're not doing that again. You know what? So I think that we ice this next.
Ice them.
What about the D? You want some of this and some of that? And if you like that little preview and want to see even more content like that, consider becoming a member for only $2 a month. And I try and make sure all the members' content is at just as high quality as these main videos. Anyway, let's get back to the ranking. The Great Cormorant is the largest bird in the game, and has an even larger number of spawn points with over 450 unique locations. Similar to the crows, roughly 97% of these spawn locations are in the Lago Zancudo swamp. They also feature 2 spawn points further up the river, 5 in Raton Canyon, and a few more southeast of the city. A more unique animal that many people might have never even noticed is the addition of 2 snakes within the game, both which appear to be gaboon vipers. These 2 snakes appear within terrariums at the Vanilla Unicorn and the Yellowjack Inn. However, they don't move and only exist as static objects. That being said, a live snake does appear in a commercial for the Grand Senora Desert. The last minor passive animal that spawns all over the map without set spawn points are butterflies, which add beauty, color, and natural life to the surrounding landscapes. However, like many of these tiny animals, they tend to go unnoticed in the grand picture. Surprisingly, the fish in the game have 454 unique spawn points and can only be found in the northern 2/3 of the map, in set locations along the coast. One spot within Raton Canyon, and in the western side of the Alamo Sea. These schools of fish contain many different species, but all spawn in similar groups. Unlike the dogs that are split up by breed, cats are only categorized in the game as the animal itself. With an astounding 770 unique spawn points, these animals can be seen across the entirety of San Andreas. Similar to many of the dog breeds, these animals make great pets, and with their vast number of spawn points, this is deserving of 19th place. The West Highland Terrier is one of the more rare dog breeds around the map, and can only be found in 2 locations in story mode, near Del Perro, during specific times of the day. Many people are aware of the scripted event where one of these Westies wanders into the Hill Valley Cemetery and sits at what's presumed to be its owner's grave. These dogs are seen a lot more in online. The dolphins in the game tend to spawn in small groups, and are usually heard before they're seen. Typically traveling in pods, these mammals can be found all around the map along the coast. The Rottweiler is one of the most iconic animals in GTA 5, specifically due to Chop belonging to this group. The Rottie also scored above average on lethality, as it does manage to do some damage to the player, especially if you attack its owner. The Border Collie scored almost the same, though just bumped itself into 15th place because it has twice as many spawn points. However, I did dock some points for the fact that most of these spawn points are time sensitive, and this one likes to jump up against an invisible fence. Heading to the coast, we can find a good amount of seagulls filling the skyline. These birds are often considered pests, though they do add a good amount of realism to any beach, with 1,257 spawn points scattered around the island's various beaches. Now, some people may not consider this next candidate to be an animal per se, and others might not even consider it to be real. But Bigfoot or the Yeti are still animalistic creatures that exist within the game. Given their iconicness and rarity, I felt it was fitting to put them in 13th place, though I could understand why some people might want this to be disqualified from the list. The Pug is a very popular and well-known breed of dog, and although it only has 7 spawn points in story mode, it can be seen more frequently in online, similar to the Poodle. This dog has a very nice character model and therefore scored higher than the average dog. The Orca is one of the most unique aquatic animals in the game, and can only be seen spawning at 182 different locations in pods of 2 to 5 on average. Unlike in real life, these animals are not nearly as deadly in game. Moving to the top 10, we have the Husky, which only has one set spawn location built specifically for the Husky, which is located just north of the city center. The Labrador Retriever is arguably the most popular and most well-known dog breed, and given the fact that it has over 1,200 spawn points and can be seen more frequently than any other dog in the game, it felt fitting that it's our #1 dog breed. Heading back to the ocean, you'll find 2 different types of sharks. The main shark within Grand Theft Auto V is a tiger shark, though many people commonly misidentify it with a great white. The sharks are what kill you when you get to the edge of the map, and are the most lethal aquatic animals there are. However, the fact that it only has 71 spawn points really did hinder its ranking. The only other shark in the game is the hammerhead shark, which has always been one of my personal favorites due to its unique design and detailed character model. With 162 different spawn locations, it's actually surprising how infrequently this animal can be seen. However, these spawn points are clustered together in only a handful of locations around the map, as they tend to spawn in larger groups and don't typically attack the player. In 6th place is the rabbit, which is a very boring and basic animal, and the only reason it climbed this high in my ranking is because of the fact that there are 19,803 different spawn points, absolutely destroying the next most common animal by almost 9 times the amount of spawn points. Similar to Bigfoot, the Los Santos monster might not even qualify for this list. However, given the fact that we counted Bigfoot and the gaboon viper, I felt that we had to include this static, mythological creature. Spawning near the end of Cayo Perico's heist, this large aquatic animal quickly darts in the water if you attempt to approach it, and Pavel has a few minor voice lines that allude towards this creature's existence. Okay, now sure, I might be more biased on this one because of my name, but the deer within the game are extremely common and spawn everywhere outside of the city. These deer come in 2 different models with a doe and a buck, and the one thing that really bothers me about this animal is the fact that they are commonly referred to in the game as elk, and the sound they make is not that of a North American deer. That being said, it still scored fairly high with its 834 spawn points and importance to this channel. The coyote is the second most spawned animal in the entire game, with 2,230 different spawn points. Similar to the rabbit, this animal didn't do anything too special and didn't score well in any other category except for its mass amount of spawn points. It would also be nice to see a couple different models for this, as they get pretty old pretty quick. In second place, we have another rare yet iconic animal, and that's the... wait. Where is it? Where's the panther in this mission? There's supposed to be a panther in this mission! Oh, there we go. I was wondering where El Rubio's panther went. Well, with only 1 spawn point within El Rubio's compound, this animal is quite elusive and doesn't do much, but is definitely one of the more lethal animals in the game. That being said, it's interesting to note that this animal only spawns in during the Cayo Perico finale and the Cayo Perico setup missions. If you do the heist during the day, the cage will be left open and no panther will be found anywhere on the island. But if you do the heist at night, the panther will be found inside its locked cage as per normal. Which brings us to the number 1 animal in the game, with over 1,300 spawn points, probably the most kills of any player, and the reason that we have the iconic clip that started the video. The cougar has always been and will continue to be a staple animal of this game, being both majestic and deadly. You just know when you hear that call, you're likely already as good as dead. And yes, in case you were wondering, they do exist in missions.